I've been thinking a lot lately about games that I grew up with and the experiences they gave me. You know, it seems like today we've attached a negative connotation with the word nostalgia. We think it makes us biased towards games that we've played as kids and put them on pedestals that they don't deserve to be on. But the more I think about it, I don't think we can get rid of our nostalgia. It's so ingrained into our memory. And frankly, I wouldn't want to get rid of it, because my gaming experiences as a child have turned me into the person I am today, and I wouldn't trade those moments for the world. Without going all soapbox on you, I've decided to embrace my nostalgia rather than run away from it, thus leading to this list that you already know the title of because you can read, but I'm gonna repeat it anyway for the sake of tradition. My top 10 Nintendo 64 games. If you listened to the first episode of the Snowcast, my gaming podcast, you would know that my favorite console is the N64. And while I have played a lot of Super Nintendo as a kid, the N64 is where I really started to blossom as a gamer. And no, that's not a way for me to say I'm coming out of the closet. I just seem to have the most memories from this system. Each number on this list is packed full of good times that are burned into my subconscious. Let's dive in with, of course, the obligatory statement saying, "This is my list and I'm sorry if your favorite isn't on here, but I'm really not sorry at all because you're not me and we have a thing called difference of opinion, which is not only okay, but what makes the world go round." Woo! Here we go.
10.
Pokemon. While the majority of my time spent with the Pocket Monsters is on the Game Boy Color, I did sink a lot of hours into a Pokemon game on the N64. And no, it's not Pokemon Snap, even though I really liked that game. And it's definitely not this game. How do you even? It was Pokemon Stadium. Right after Pokemon's explosion of popularity on handhelds, Nintendo decided to bring our favorite companions to the third dimension. This was the closest we could get to having a real 3D open-world Pokemon adventure at the time, and we ate it up. You could import your own Pokemon from your Game Boy and watch them duke it out on your television, and even fight your way through all 8 gyms. But this isn't the reason I spent so much of my childhood glued to this game. These are the mini-games. We finally get a realistic eye-popping Pokemon fight simulator, and instead I used it to watch Magikarps flail around and Lickitungs eat sushi. These were so much fun to play with friends and were really addictive. I remember playing the Rattata race so much my buddies didn't even want to play with me anymore because I would always win. Today people are begging Nintendo for a big Pokemon MMO with beautiful graphics and a huge world to explore, but I'd be happy with just some new mini-games to destroy my friends at.
9.
Let me take you back to a time where Blockbuster reigned supreme, when you could rent movies for a certain number of days depending on how new it was, and they had sample N64s on display to test out some of the games you could rent. I remember playing Star Fox 64 at a Blockbuster and being blown away at the graphical and mechanical power this game offered. You could go into all-range mode, blow up giant robots, and yes, even
do a barrel roll!
The coolest part of Star Fox 64 to me was the secrets. I remember kids telling me at school to follow Falco through the waterfall, and I was like, what? You're crazy. But then I tried it, and it was like, a whole new world. It didn't make me like Falco anymore, though.
Gee, I've been saved by Fox. How swell.
What a jerk.
8.
What? Ocarina of Time is only number 8 on your list? Unsubscribe, dislike, angry comment. Hey, first off, please don't. Second, yes, it's only number 8, but I can explain. I really liked playing through Ocarina of Time, but I have a confession to make. I never owned Ocarina as a kid. I only rented it a few times, and I never even got past the Great Deku Tree. I didn't get it then. I couldn't jump, and I was really confused on what to do and where to go. I would open up other people's save files who had rented the game too, and they'd be at the Goron City, and I'd be like, oh, this place is cool. I want to be here. It wasn't until my senior year of high school that I got it on Virtual Console and finally played it through all the way. And then I really enjoyed it. It absolutely gave me a sense of adventure, even if I did have to use a walkthrough. But is that why this is the number 8 spot? It's not a matter of what it deserves, I just liked the other games on this list more because I have incredibly fond memories of them. Don't take it personal, okay? Man, what a waste of a spot. I just sat here explaining my reasoning for my own list. See what you made me do? Okay, for those that want my favorite part of Ocarina of Time, here it is.
7.
Oh my gosh, GoldenEye! I love this game so much! I'm gonna boot it up again and relive the super awesome memories. Oh, it's not quite how I remember it. One joystick. hold R to aim? Is left strafe or turn? Okay, so it may not have aged as well as we would have hoped, but there's no denying the impact the GoldenEye had on gaming at its prime. I don't know how many hours I've sunk into this game, whether it was throwing Sean Bean off the cradle, or playing multiplayer and getting mad at Billy for choosing Oddjob every single time! Not to mention the cheat codes. Oh man, the cheat codes. Paintball mode, double guns, and of course, the incredible DK mode. The funny thing is, at the time, we thought this looked identical to Pierce Brosnan. It's like James Bond himself was in our game. How the times have changed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna spin around on a toilet seat until I somehow teleport into the air vent.
6.
As you know, I love Donkey Kong. I hope you're hyped for Donkey Kong Month! And much like many of the other SNES games to take the leap into the third dimension and slap a 64 on the title, Donkey Kong did just that pretty late in the N64's life cycle. Everything was expanded, more characters, bigger levels, and a huge island to explore. The minigames were cool at first, but got old pretty quick. It definitely had its own style though. There was so much new characters, new abilities, cameras, warp pads. I remember my dad playing it for the first time and saying, "Why am I throwing melons?" It was a big departure, but still had that DKC charm. This is a game I haven't played since it came out, and I really need to revisit it soon. If for no other reason, for the DK rap.
Here we go.
Diddy Kong Racing was a really cool game on the N64. It took kart racing to new heights by adding planes and hovercrafts, and even gave you an overworld to explore. The weapon system was neat, and there was a lot of extra content for those wanting a challenge. But that game isn't number 5 on this list. I was a Mario Kart 64 kind of guy. Did you like that bait and switch there? As cool as Diddy Kong Racing was, Mario Kart 64 perfected what it started on the SNES. Everything looked so good, and all the levels were memorable. I remember just being mesmerized at how magical Rainbow Road was. But of course, what I ended up playing the most was battle mode. The stages were just perfect for facing off to the death against each other, especially Block Fort. I loved that if you died first, you could turn into a bomb and try to suicide kill another player. It added all kinds of new strategy to the match. This is the kind of thing Mario Kart needs to come back to. It's so complex now. It was perfect with just 3 balloons, a simple little square map, and madness. Toad for life, baby.
4.
Man, I've already made a big ol' video about Mario 64 and how well it's designed, so I won't go super in depth with how incredible it really is, but it's important to understand how monumental this game was for the world and its relationship with gaming. Much like how the NES was groundbreaking for its time, the N64 threw 3D gaming into the mainstream, with Mario 64 as its spearhead. There were people that were never into gaming suddenly jumping in for the first time because we had never leapt an entire dimension before. We haven't had such an impact since. This isn't just a fun game that triggers my nostalgia, it's where I really felt like I started to get into gaming. I wanted to beat this game 100%. I wanted to scour every inch of the world and find its secrets. This was before the internet could help us find everything, so I remember hearing rumors on the playground of a metal cap that made Mario heavy. I hadn't seen it before, but it was like a light bulb went off in my head because I remember switches underwater that I couldn't press. It was like, oh, that's what it would be for! So I thought long and hard about where this cap could be hidden, and when I finally found it in Hazy Mae's cave, the epiphany I felt is just unexplainable. It really was a different time where things weren't spoiled for us as easily. What an awesome game. Like, literally, this game left me in awe.
3.
Super Smash Bros. May possibly be the most fun I've ever had on the N64 for the longest amount of time. Obviously, the idea of pinning your best mascots against each other in a groundbreaking new kind of fighting game was genius, but the game never got old either. I remember staying up all night just fighting my friends in 99 stock matches. We would keep going and going, and the items or characters never got stale. The ironic thing is how limited this game was compared to its sequels to come later. There were only 12 characters, 9 stages, 1 single player mode, and 2 minigames, but that was all we needed. Again, it reminds me of a simpler time back then when we were given so little but we turned it into so much. Now, Smash has 50 characters and we feel like the innovation is lacking. Back then, I read all the information on the characters, listened to every and on the sound test, and deleted my save file over and over again just to get that deep stomach-churning feeling of excitement when you have a new challenger approaching. This is another game that started a phenomenon for years to come.
2.
Yeah, if you know me really well, you'd probably be surprised that this game isn't number 1 on my list. And believe me, I was too. I love Banjo-Kazooie so much, from its personality and charm to its memorable levels and characters. I've said a condensed version of my thoughts on this game in VZed's video on it, so you can check that out if you want. But just know that there's something special about this goofy bear and bird. I remember as a kid, I really wanted a hamster, and my parents made me read up on how much work it would be to take care of a pet. I was also really wanting this new game I saw called Banjo-Kazooie, so they asked me if I'd rather have a hamster or this Banjo game. I have no idea why, but there must have been something special about the way Banjo looked on that cover art, because I chose BK without hesitation and I never got a hamster. Oddly enough, I didn't actually beat this game as a kid. I always died in the final boss fight against Grunty, but I have since played it many times and always remember how much I love this stinking game. From the witty banter to the really clever way this game handles secrets, Banjo-Kazooie is a rareware classic through and through. So we're running out of time here, so let's look at some honorable mentions really quickly. Boom, 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 boom.
1.
Some guy at Nintendo had the crazy idea to take Mario, the most beloved plumber in all of gaming, and turn him into paper, and then make an RPG adventure out of thin air. I don't know where it came from, but sometimes the craziest ideas turn into the best games. Paper Mario was unique, it was special, and it certainly caught my eye. I always look back and wonder why I wanted certain games as a kid, but by golly, Paper Mario consumed my thoughts until I got it as a gift from my parents. I'm having trouble even finding the words to explain how stunning this game is. It's quirky, it's clever, and it somehow came up with a whole new world to place Mario into. Each chapter was memorable and fun. They created so many new characters, bosses, and puzzles to make this game fresh and amazing. I'm just throwing out buzzwords here at this point, but can we talk about how huge this game is? If you don't count any of the time spent on actual chapters progressing the story, you could spend 100 hours just on side missions and games. It is packed to the brim with things to do, some I don't even really understand. All I know is there's few things I remember so fondly from my childhood. From the friends I met along the way, to the combat system, to the scary final boss fight where I was actually worried I wouldn't be able to beat Bowser this time. It's games like Paper Mario that make the N64 so astounding. I said from the beginning that this list would be filled with nostalgia, and it certainly was. It really was something else for me to revisit these games and think back on all the good times I had with this system. The N64 is my favorite console, and it's the games that make that statement true. A combination of several things made these games so memorable to me. The newness of 3D gaming, being Rareware's heyday, the lack of internet spoiling surprises, and being at just the right age where I could enjoy every minute of it. Get lost in a world and not worry about anything else. Like bills, a job, and oh crap, I gotta go. I'm late for work! Man, thanks for watching. I'm snomaN, and it really was a pleasure for me to make this list. And I hope you had some fun too, thinking back on some of your favorite gaming memories as a kid. Please, tell me your favorite N64 games in the comments below. I'd love to reminisce with you. Even if your favorite games aren't from this console, put those down below as well. Let's talk about how terrific games are. If you liked what you saw, feel free to give a thumbs up or subscribe and check out these other videos. And after you do that, go play a game that you love. You deserve it. See you guys around.